where we invite politicians, youths, and women to discuss about the issues in our country here. And today, our honorable guest is Mr. Amadou. We will talk to him shortly, but before that, you can kindly follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Sponsors are also invited. You can call on the numbers on the screen to sponsor this program. I am your host, Rohit Ture. Assalamu alaikum, Honorable.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, greetings to you.
Greetings to you and your team, and to all your viewers, and to all your technicians. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, today, as I tell you earlier, our honorable guest is Mr. Amadou Sane, who was the former finance minister of the Gambia between the year 2017 to 2019 for about 3 years. So today we will talk to him about his personal circumstances and his tenure during the 2017 to 2019. So Mr. Sane, can you please tell us your compelling story, because everybody knows that you have a compelling story. Tell us about your personal circumstances and how you came to be a policymaker in the Gambia.
Thank you very much. Actually, when the coup came in 1994, I was appointed Accountant General in Gambia. Sat there for about 2 years, then I was moved to Ministry of Trade, as Deputy Permanent Secretary. But when I saw how this military junta was operating, I decided, no, I cannot continue to work with them, so I resigned. It was then that I set up my accounting firm with my long-term friend, Alasan Ajite. We set it up together, and we went into private practice. So 96, when UDP was formed, immediately said, look, this is a national calling, and I cannot sit by and just watch this country go into the dust. So I decided to join the UDP. And at the first Congress in Brikama, I was elected as the National Treasurer, a position which I served until today. So the journey has been rough. It was brutal, and really we were dealing with people, I don't know what class of people I would put them under, really inhuman. They don't have any concern, respect for any human being. At the time, it's like nobody's life matters. And that's all the more reason we decided to continue with UDP and to fight to get a better Gambia, where the rule of law, democracy, human rights, and progress will exist for everybody. Yes. This journey, the first arrest was in 96, and they came for me, and my office said they wanted to see me at the NIA because my vehicle was there. When the party leader, Elijah Senda, was coming from Tor, at Denton Bridge, they ambushed us. That was Yankuba Ture and the military team, a lot of armed people. At Denton Bridge, we were asked to remove our clothes, stretched on the ground, and they came beating and stamping, climbing on our backs and heads. It was really sad. At the end of the day, they tried to throw us into the ask us all to board the truck, because we have a UDP, 2 trucks. One we call democracy, the other was human rights, and it's mainly youths that are filled in it. So myself as a lead vehicle then, and some others, we were all stopped. The rest, they asked them to return. So those people did not know what was happening to us. So when we boarded the truck, they said the driver must go into the the Denton Bridge River there, the ocean there. But they argued amongst themselves, and some say, let's put a fire under the truck so that the tank will explode and we will all die. Um, but God being that merciful, the truck tires put out the fire.
Okay.
And then they said, now take them to Banyul. We crossed the bridge, they took us to Marina Parade. Again, they stretched us down, they were beating, anywhere, your head, your body, anywhere, they don't care.
It was continuously.
Continuous beating. After that, the answer was, okay, get out of here, all of you. So everybody just got up, run. And the late Sidia Sanya, our first admin secretary for UDP, he said, no, I'm not going to run. He was working. I said, let's run. He said, no, I have not done anything. So they crowded him, they were beating him. I think that contributed to his illness and demise. Then the second one also came where we had people who leave the country and they want to get asylum. So some of them, the party officers, some of us, they will write attestations to say, and the conditions in the country are such that, really, if you can accord them, that will be helpful. So they caught one by Malam Fati with an attestation. It was my signature. The elder brother was also arrested, Sambu Fati. So 3 of us were taken to the NIA. During that period, again, it was a very difficult situation. One night, these junglers came. They took us one by one. I was taken to the conference room hall upstairs, and they undress you and then slap you all over. About 6 to 8 people, all with six continuously, all of them beating you until I think I passed out or so. And I think that's the time they took me to one on the side, dragged me and threw me in the cell. So it was under that condition that they did a video of me, which went to the TRRC. And I was really not even conscious of what I was saying, really very brutal beating. The others were also taken, Sambu and then Malang, likewise. So NIA was very, 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 I would say, cruel center for the regime. And they torture whoever they went there, they beat them. So from there, we were taken to court and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
That was 2013.
2013 December, we went to prison. We served the 3 years, and then 2016, after the change came out. But before then, also, we had the Chamoy Bridge incident, where Baba Job and his team, some of them ambushed us when we were going to Kulari. I was with the party leader in Dr. Sis's vehicle. There was one vehicle in front, one of our militants, I think, if I remember the name correctly, Ujari, Sarahullah man. So they threw a big stone and smashed our windscreen, from the forest, on both sides, they were throwing stones. So Ujari's car went sped in front and to get out of range, and our driver also went through the blockade because they put some stones to block the road so that we cannot escape.
Was that done by the NIA?
No, that was the militants in Basir. They organized the APRC militants. So when our youths arrived in their gele-geles and trucks, they came down. The men, the women, lift my hat off for the women. They went inside the bushes, the forest, to fight.
Yes.
They were fighting these criminals, and we got 4 of them. We took to the police station, but the police left them, and instead they arrested us because one person by the name Ali Njai was injured seriously, and he died when they brought him to the Basay Health Center. So they said we were the ones, the UDP, that killed that person. So the criminals were left, and we were the criminals instead. So the court process, Basay Boriture was there as the magistrate, and he ruled that we cannot be tried there, we have to come to Banjul. So they put us at the back of the police military truck on the rain, and even at Basay, the rains were coming, and we were parked outside behind the police station. So it was not a very healthy environment. I must thank Muna Njai, Basay, daughter of late Mohamed Musa, and his brother, I call him Dr. Njai. They were bringing us food at the station. We were eating there with some of those who were detained there also, until some of our people were saying, if we continue to give these people food, they will pray that we will, so that we stay there and not leave. But God has his ways. So we came on the rain, up to Banjul. We were bailed, but then we were being charged for murder. Some of our members, I think this initial list that was charged was maybe very high. I don't know exactly, but maybe around 80 of our supporters or so. Then they dropped some, and then gradually they dropped some out. We also dropped out. The remaining ones, at the end of the day, were freed. Yes. So meetings, when we hold meetings, sometimes the police and paras will come, beat our supporters, militants, scatter us, Or if they see you on the road with UDP T-shirts or so, they tear it on your back. And you can remember also one incident at Telinde, Churchillstown, where they shot somebody, during our campaign meeting. Somebody was killed there. So UDP went through a very rough and very difficult part. But we did it for this country. I think at the end of the day, when 2016, there was change, people can see the difference. All those arrests without charge, detention without charge, there were even some people in prison who were never convicted. So just imagine, you just pick somebody, say, because you accuse him of something, and you don't charge him, and you just lock him up. So we found people like that in the prisons. At Mile 2 also, when we were there, we learned about the story of Kanyaba Kanyi. They said he was there with them for some time. Then they came and took him away. And now we know Kanyava has disappeared. Nobody knows where he is. Most probably he's been killed. So Gambia was under a very lawless, insecure, and very brutal dictatorship. So UDP stood up firm with all the hardship and all the brutality that we want a better country. We 2016 at least we brought in democracy, came in. At least some human rights. Now we have a human rights commission, but whether they're doing enough is left for people to judge. And then we have a rule of law, although that's again some people have some reservations in some cases. So the struggle continues. We see that there are some weaknesses in the democracy still, because the government uses its incumbency and take advantage of the population in a lot of ways, which we think should not be. For 10 years of Barrow's regime, we still don't have a revised constitution. So if Barrow campaigned to say the 1997 constitution was doctored by Jammeh, I don't know how many times, 42 times or so, and we should change it because he changed all those provisions for his own benefit. So we want a constitution that will serve Gambia, the Gambian people, and not individuals. So after spending over $100 million, he still cannot give us a constitution. The Public Order Act, where they give notorious powers to the police to arrest and so on, detention, seek permit, freedom of association was curtailed. Like we want meetings, you still have to apply for a permit. All these things are not necessary in a democracy. So all those changes that we should have done still remains undone. So, and what Barrow is using, he's using the same old rule book that Jammeh has been using in that sense to try to muscle opposition and dissent. And we can see the trend that this country is going. And if we don't stand up again and stop him, we can decline back to dictatorship. So the struggle continues. That's why we are still in UDP after all these years. We are celebrating 30 years this Sunday.
Inshallah.
So we still continue. It's for the Gambia. If you work for your country, if we have a good country, we all benefit. But if it's rotten environment, situation, everybody suffers. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a tough one because you see, these ladies here, they are in part of those struggles, so they are enjoying your hard work right now. So, can you also tell us about during your time in prison? Because in 2013 you were charged of sedition in the case of asylum application.
Yes.
So, during your stay in prison, were you able to keep in touch with the outside world?
They allowed us at some point visits of your family. They come to visit you, once a week, or sometimes I think it came to twice a week, something like that. That's the main contact. And if we go to hospital, like heart conditions, diabetes, some have pressure, they would truck us to the hospital to get medication. Even that circumstance is difficult because some people will be sick and they wouldn't have the opportunity to go. So when you go out, that's the time you see at least places.
Fresh air.
Yes, you breathe fresh air outside the prison. And the conditions were terrible. They were beating some inmates. The food was horrible. to the extent that we had that sickness called biri biri.
Biri biri.
Biri biri, either your legs get swollen, and then normally fluid rises to your organs, and sometimes a lot of people perished in that kind of situation. I can remember, like the toast the Damanda, if you leave it for the next day, you'll see that all the top will be covered with white
Fungus.
fungus,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's fungus. So most of us, we cannot even eat that. Um, they would allow us provisions like tea, some sugar, and that's a few things. Sometimes we use that to help ourselves. But when the change came, um, we tried to improve the conditions there. The food especially was very bad. And then the brutality of some of the officers, not every one of them, but some of them were really bad. They really beat the kids, and I remember a few of them. It was horrible. Yes. So the party leader was saying one came and sang, uh, uh, Femi Peters, and a lot of the others, Lamaro, also came and found me there when they were arrested. So, but they were in the security wing, and I was in the main prison yard. So we only meet maybe when we go to the clinics. They also come there. Sometimes we meet, but even there, they don't want the association. As we talk or charge, they will separate us. So that was the environment there.
Okay, thank you very much with regard to that. Now we'll be moving on to during your tenure as the finance minister. So can you please tell the viewers the state of our economy since you step in as the finance minister in 2017?
Yes. 2017, we found the Gambia was really a broken country. The economy was really bad. You know, foreign exchange shortages. Have the coffers of the government was really so low. Even to order fuel was a difficulty for NAWEC. During those days, you can see people were demonstrating because of the power cuts and so on. The stock of heavy fuel then was as low as 2 weeks. So if that had finished, the whole country, we would have been on blackout.
Blackout, yeah.
But through our efforts, we are able to get the World Bank back to work with us. And with government funds also, we were able to make the first public tender where everyone who has the capacity to import this heavy fuel would come and do his bid. And at that time, the first one, Alaji Conte and Castro, partnered, and they won. And the price that we got from them was 18% lower than what James buys it, his supplier, who had the monopoly and brought us very bad fuel, which damages our engines. So they brought in a good quality fuel at a cheaper price. If the trend had continued, prices would have come down, and the engines would have served much longer. But today, most of our generators are gone, and you can see we are very near Koto. Before, you will hear the engines, running and a lot of noise, but now you can hardly hear any engine from Koto. And Brikama also, we know, is still a major problem in a lot of engines. So most of our current now we are importing from Guinea, Senegal, Guinea Dam, and from Senegal from their power system, which does not give us energy security. You need to have a certain amount of kilowatts that we can generate for ourselves in case any of those ones fail. But if these ones withdraw, we'll be left with a serious power shortage problem. So the economy, we did our best. We stabilized the foreign currency, and that was around 40, $50. $50 is to the dollar. And we reduced the loan portfolio because the loans were so high. Then if the Gambia goes to any of these financial institutions, they tell them, look, we cannot lend you because you have borrowed way above your head, and to repay will be a difficulty for you. We went, approached our creditors. China gave us a waiver for all their loans. Saudi, they froze their loans. We were not paying interest and also the principal for 5 years. The Paris Club, we went there twice or so to negotiate, but by the time I left finance, they still had not decided on that. So we talked with our donors and we organized this Brussels conference. We prepared this national development plan, and the conference was so successful. We had 1.4 billion euros. That was about $1.7 billion in pledges and support. So when we came, even Barrow was saying that even the cats and the mouse will get their share, they will all be happy. Okay, this plan covers the entire company's sectors, from health to education to agriculture, infrastructure, roads, and so on. The IT, also there was a security component. All these things would have been benefited from this donors conference, the funds that were pledged. So, but when we came after some time, I was moved to trade. So I couldn't implement what I had planned. And unfortunately, the Gambia did not receive all those funds. A few may have come, but most of it are not there. And now we can see this government just borrowing from treasury bills, borrowing, to double what we left there, So the country is in a very bad state, and they still continue to borrow. The economic and fiscal management, we would say, does not put Gambia on a trajectory for development, because you can see the youth unemployment is still very high. Our health system is really so bad, no medication. You go to hospital, they prescribe for you, and then you go to their pharmacy, you cannot get the medication. The education system still, okay, we're trying to do with the university, but how many people complete grade 12 and then they cannot get to the university and they are out in the job market? Every year, thousands, add up to that. And it just brings my mind back to a trip we did to India. That was on the ADB board. The hotel we were staying, there was one waiter, a male waiter, who was serving, and he was telling me, where do you come from? I say, Gambia. I say, yes. I say, oh, we heard about Gambia. You have hotels there? I say, yes, we have a hotel industry. I said, I would like to come and work in the Gambia. I specialize in pastry and bakery making. He said, I have a degree in that. So imagine people with degrees acting as waiters in hotels, because there the education system produces a lot of graduates and so on. So it's not everybody who gets a job. We are moving to that level. We are producing so many grade 12s. We have not prepared the ground for them, not the economy. And then the university is churning out. Every year you have a batch coming out. The economy must move, and the development programs in agriculture and infrastructure and health, all these things must develop along to be able to absorb this number of students. But if you see you have so many backway youths going away to look for something better, because you finish school, you don't have any opportunity. This government has not created any opportunity for the youths. So I think it's time for Gambians to change. And when we started, at least the country was in a very stable path. But today you can see the inflation in the market. And if the market dealers can hold a rally in support of UDP, then those who go to the market, they should think twice, because they know what is happening in the market. Prices are high, and a lot of people, they are not getting the sales that they used to have. So it's a pity. Some of the vegetable sellers, the women who rent, after 1-2 days, your vegetables are not sold. They start to wither and spoil. So they make losses in that.
The likes of tomatoes.
Yes, tomatoes and but if we come in as UDP, hoping if Hussein wins the presidency, the government will be a UDP government. We know all these issues from agriculture, poor fertilizer distribution and the high cost to farmers, and then even the marketing of the groundnuts. Up to some 2 weeks back, we were seeing in the papers that they have not paid all the farmers their monies. That's a disaster. So we have a government that has no regard for the youths, not for the farmers, not for the women who are struggling. So all they are interested is to carry on with their own lives, take a chunk of the budget and invest in fancy cars, salary increases upon salary increases, and the president now up to 500,000 a month, and then you bring a law to say if you retire, you want to earn the same thing with cars, and then you have cleaners and cooks, and then you can go on holiday with your family to any country in the world at the expense of the poor taxpayer, whose groundnuts have not even been purchased. So I think people need to sit down and see you don't have a serious government. You have so much corruption going around. And as I was telling some of these people that even the ports, it's not performing properly, and a lot of containers come through Dhaka because their port is more efficient and they find it cheaper to evacuate, less time, and they can bring their goods. But here we have a very bad situation. The agreement they did, so far we have not seen the level of development at the ports. that will compare with Dakar or Guinea or Guinea-Bissau or Sierra Leone. So those countries have improved their ports and they are managing them properly. So we are losing business and port traffic to these countries now. So that's a disadvantage to Gambia.
Sure.
The port workers, the business community, and it doesn't help. And then you go to the ferries. Yes, we have a new ferry, but when you have heavy rains and the Atlantic Ocean rises, you can see videos of people coming out of the ferry and getting into the water to climb out. That is serious. So if you are doing development, those are things you should have catered for and really not let people suffer in that sense. Those are very serious issues.
Sure. Okay, and during your tenure, the Gambia's import cover reportedly rose from less than 3 weeks to over 4 months. What specific fiscal and monetary measures did you prioritize to achieve this rapid reserve accumulation? And could those same tools be effective today, given the recent debt basis?
The reserves during those periods were impacted by inflows from our donors. We had budget support from the World Bank, the EU. We had funds from the EU and other development partners like the ADB. So they were coming to help Gambia because we are coming out of a dictatorship into democracy. So they want to support that young democracy to stand firm. So then the foreign inflows from our diaspora also was significant, and they were really helping their families, and some of them are coming to invest. A lot of diasporans came willing to invest in the Gambia and stay. But we can see that now, after 5 years of Barrow, a lot of them have gone back. They don't see the prospects of investing in this country and making a good business. So today, that cover, without those inflows, it will become difficult because most of these partners that we work with, now the geopolitical environment is not so favorable as it was, because you have the Ukraine war, in the Middle East you have the Iran, US-Israel war, and you have a lot of right-wing governments now in different countries, and they are not so sympathetic to the third world or maybe countries like us. The US, we relied on as one of our partners, and we were expecting a lot of help from them and support. Now you can see that they almost dismantled the USAID, and they have reduced their direct support to countries, and even health programs that they were supporting, like HIV/AIDS and so on, and they have withdrawn a lot of support. So the British government recently, I understand, has also reduced their funding for aid. So if that is the environment, you need a new strategy to move this country from where it is today. Otherwise, if our donors cease their support, we have to rely on ourselves, and we have to use our resources. We do have resources. We have a lot of fertile land. We have the river right in the middle of the country for irrigation. So all the tons that hundreds of thousands of tons we are importing, rice and vegetables, onions, we can grow this and also be a net exporter. But we don't have the development programs from this government that will push us to that trajectory to be able to produce enough to feed this country and also to export.
Okay, and the Gambia's public debt is projected to remain high around 68.9% of GDP in 2024, and the country is still at high risk of debt distress. Looking back, what debt management strategies did you implement, and what would you do differently to achieve a faster and more sustainable debt reduction?
Well, the fiscal and economic management that we implemented, this government threw away all those safeguards, all those building blocks. We reduced the borrowing. The treasury bill rates were around 21%, and we were able to reduce it to around 8%.
Okay.
And imagine with the then let's say about 25 billion domestic debt, you know, how much savings we were able to have, you know. If you have a reduction of 10% on 25 billion, that's hundreds of millions that we saved to the Gambian taxpayer. Now they are increasing their borrowing, so the treasury bill rates will obviously rise. So, and then we are not generating enough foreign exchange earning investments that will help inflows, you know, to cover the demand, the strong demand by business community for foreign exchange. Because the rice we import, you know, let's say about 75% of it from other countries, and you have to get the dollar, you have to get the euro or the pound to buy that. Like the onions also we're importing, now a lot comes from Senegal. We have to still have the CFA, and you can see the CFA price also very high. So the pressure on the foreign exchange is now very high, and we try to reduce it with our debt, and we try to encourage the banks, the financial sector to invest, to have support businesses with financing, and not just to put their money in treasury bills. This government reversed that. Now a lot of investment is on treasury bills. So the business community is not a priority for the bank, because when you invest in treasury bills, you don't risk losing your money. If you give it to somebody to do a business, it might fail, it might succeed. So those are risks that the banks should take. So they change all that. And then the investments they are doing, roads. Every day you go and lay a stone, or you go and lay a mud stone in one area to say you are developing the country. This is not productive, because the roads are supposed to generate development in the areas. The roads themselves is not the solution. Yes, but they have borrowed billions, spent billions on these roads, and the quality of a lot of them is really questionable.
Yeah, sure.
The engineering, the drainage systems, we can see with the rains that have come, we know does not match the needs of those communities. Like Banjul, so you can see heavy rains, it floods seriously. You come to Serakunda, Churchilltown area, and you know that's an area where it's always flooding. But there are no plans to improve the drainage system in this country to meet the challenge of the weather and the rains. So just putting all the money in roads, in vehicles, and travels and so on, is not helping the Gambia. And I was saying the last time in one of the interviews, if they put over 600 million in vehicles and another 300 million in fuel and other things, almost 1 billion, you know, you could use that for empowering youths. And I think when we come UDP, what we do is to cut out this waste and invest in the country, especially youth development. What's wrong in establishing youth companies in agriculture to produce poultry or in fisheries instead of having all of fish taken by these large trawlers, and we are not benefiting much, They can invest in small industries, you know. So really, we need to invest in ourselves and in the resources that we have in different areas. But just to put money in roads really does not take us anywhere.
You have openly discussed fierce internal and external battles where interests overruled reforms in government policy. Can you give a specific example of a major reform you advocated for that was blocked, or who or what interest you believe were responsible?
There were several cases. Let me come to the energy sector first.
Okay.
We had an energy company that came in. I called them Kinesis from Turkey.
Okay.
They brought in their proposals, and really they went through the office of the president, and the president bought their ideas in terms of energy, because the energy crisis was serious. But then the cost that they are bringing in this energy was extremely high. It was about 35 cents per kilowatt hour, when other countries are getting PPAs, these public-private partnerships, PPPs, around 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So why should the Gambian public pay more than that? So we discussed, and I was at finance, and with my team, the permanent secretaries and directors, and we all see that it is not a viable proposal for us. But at the office of the president, they insisted they must have this. And my meeting with the president then, he said, no, these people will light the entire country. It will be a thing of the past. This black house will be thing of the past. These people have money. They can do this. But unfortunately, I had my trip and I went to their head office. And what they were asking me is, for them to start their ground operations, are there banks in the country that they can take loans to do that initial? So I was really shocked, So it means what they wanted was to take that agreement and maybe to use as leverage to go and seek funding from the international financing. And at the price that they're giving us, and they'll make a lot of profit.
That was more of their own interest.
Yeah. So, and then our partners, our donor partners, World Bank, they also studied the process. They said, no, this is not acceptable. But the office of the president insisted, no, we must sign this. To a point that where the World Bank said, look, Amadou, if you sign this agreement, we are going to leave your country. We will not continue with our program. And then I went to see the president and said, look, we have arrived at a point now. The partners are helping, our donors, we are building the NDP, they are supporting our budget, and so on. But they're saying now, if you sign this, they will leave. So you decide. If you are going to sign, yes, or you leave it out. So he was furious, Because he said when his wife went to Turkey, these people give red carpet and this and that, flamboyant reception and so on. So, but that is not for the Gambia. They can give respect, and help your wife in enjoying her trip, but what they are giving the poor man in the Gambia is not acceptable.
Yeah.
So they had to withdraw that,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a serious rift. Then the port development, I had already initiated with the World Bank. They came, they studied. There were so many interested investors because we didn't have the money to spend on the ports, what it requires. We cannot borrow, you know. Um, there were Dubai ports. They wanted to invest in it. And when they invest, this will be an arrangement where they will bring all the funds and invest in the ports.
Mm-hmm.
And we arrange on the management. After a period, they would leave it to the country.
Okay.
But even during their management period, the country will receive some incomes, income from the port. So Bolore was interested, Dubai Port was interested, and another I always say, is it Indonesia or Philippines? I think it's Indonesia. To Rodava, he took some officials to visit
Okay.
airports, and those people also were interested in investing, but they blocked it. So, you know, up to today, you can see the port has not moved anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So if that had gone ahead, we would have been talking about a different port in the Gambia.
Yeah.
The facilities, you know, because now a lot of these big vessels, when they come, um, the place where they batch the keys that are there, it can only take, I think, about two big vessels,
Okay.
you know, and then the accumulation of sand also stops some of them from docking. So it's not a very good environment there,
Mm-hmm.
and all those would have been addressed, and the ferry system also would have changed. But they blocked it. No, they were not interested. So they had their own plans.
And also, we also heard that you also disagreed with uh, privatization of our state assets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gamtel especially.
Okay.
Gamtel, we said, should be our infrastructure manager for the government
Mm-hmm.
because it was during my time that I took the loan to invest in the fiber optic broadband,
Yeah.
and one way came to implement it. So that project, if it had been implemented fully, all the departments would have fiber optic, all the hospitals, health centers, educational institutions, and they will benefit from this. Students can do their research, in the net. It will help. The health facilities will have a good database. You can keep the information of your patients in there, and every time they go, you can retrieve it, and then you can see whether the medication that was given was effective or so. But they wanted, and the disagreement also with the World Bank, to privatize both Gamtel and Gamcell. We can say that we can privatize the commercial entities, but then the infrastructure should remain with government.
Okay.
Gamcell was doing very terribly. It was borrowing overdraft to pay salaries. It was really in a bad shape
Yeah.
because the termination, coal termination income was being siphoned at the time by Jam and his group and the company that was managing it. So we terminated that contract, and it was brought back. The government was receiving it at that time. we said after the initial period it will revert back to Gamtel because government was not getting much income. So and we were in dire straits for the country. So, but we supported Gamtel with the fiber optic, by which they could have sold the different lines in it to different operators. But the policy now, I don't know, because now you have QCell with their own fiber optic line. I don't know if the others will also follow. So it seems they have decentralized it and it's open. And the privatization of Gamcell, the best option and strategy, I think, we advocated for was invite a technically competent company to run it because their equipments were very old and they need a lot of investment in equipment and they need to design their management workforce and improve their capacity to compete with these others. So you need a good company to do that. And then the rest of the shares, maybe you give them 55%, and then the 45, you sell it to the Gambians, ordinary Gambians. You can buy $1,000 shares, another will buy it 100,000, or another can buy 5,000 or 500. So the population will get involved in the economy in that way, that they become introduced into shareholding, the concept of shareholding. Because Europe, if you go companies, there are investors who invest a lot in companies. They don't even know them because they have the capital market, they have the shares stock exchange. They sell the shares to the general public. Companies raise lots of funds, and they were able to invest improving their companies, establishing new ventures, investing in technology and so on. But that culture is not, much here. On the Jawara, we did privatize some of the government's shareholdings, like the then CFAO, some of it was privatized. Then there was that fishing company in Banjul. I don't remember the name. They had few boats. It was also privatized. And a few interests. GPMB was being privatized. I think Alimenta came in, and they had plans to improve the variety of groundnut that we grow here, so that the oil content will be higher, and they can export. But then Yajame kicked them out, and since then, that place is going down and down and down. So now they've given it a very long name. Sometimes I cannot pronounce. So it can be food security and something. But you can see we've lost this trend. Gambia was exporting oil salad from groundnut oil, hand-picked seed nuts for confectionery, like these roasted nuts that they package. And we should have progressed to the extent that some of those confectioneries now we should be able to produce here. Groundnut, instead of just exporting groundnut as it is. FAQ, and that's not helpful.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Tasane. Say ben tamo wajam fakande. Bari aku kilimbi jembala filanga minka cha wala United Democratic Party ila 34 miyalo ko inshallah abekela on the 23rd of this August membe benna dimasilingo fi. Say isi muna funo mo lenyin 34 ni wolungo sit inshallah muna bakela Gambia ja.
34 momenti doro. Pour que fans UDP celebrate 30 years silo ngame kachano koleta nombake na mojama saying alay woltale na late single nyasi nyol Femi Peter Sajo Kunyanyol and solo Koromanol nata solo sandeng jama na late friend Kutubo Manenyol bebe kurno onda nda kamaranyol Abu Karamba Gasama Buba Samara so nim hombe to fala siata fonga wol be mira ila kato ya menke banko e ila fta men ka mengan ya banko e ne ala entel meltuje mbe ole kata kan kawo ngani o timmande man tar janya o nya bari UDP be kontine kanne kawo hammo miro men beto pour ka banko ke buluto me alonko asi banko be nafa kairo kono tenkon kono yirwa kono fanam so 38th anniversary mbakela SSP Brikama mberali kala je oraro bare jandi wo sama mbel kuran karan kala manjay biro kadwa sawantewle kadwa patiyole kadwa bankoye ko ala sin anatol timmande
okay sai isi la kuma laban fono Gambia dole jandim bita
so kuma laban be kala mento politiko ka yeleman but I think doku vale be Gambia nol bolo pour ya long la politiko be nyame politiko do bije politique noring long do bije politique kendo long men ka banko fasa saying Gambia no la today level kat on saying at train menje silo membe keri jama bije ngamere koritale o fisaltale sanji joli sanji muang sanji ta ebe masakunda men kele kafa mambete atilimbaliata corrupta mambanko nafa yena yele malunkili yi kumo men be fo sanji tangni fen sanji muang kono ko ha anisain batonga kafoma nino mansa kendoti batonga fenke so ako isalon ko politics senung tewoti mo politiko nyawnya nyanta ye tonyale fo nyanta ye banko le nafa fo nyanta ye banko dingal le fasa bari tengaji hide ni melkataje fisalo le mo to abol ka fanyade if you cannot beat them join them so etel yaaje ko e man sembe so do ka bondi batunga kafuyma be mendom fanale o nga kafol an wolbe mentom Gambia nol be yaajele ko tiñarolum manke banko la nafati so ni tel tata kafuma say be murule be munefo kam banko dingle no so banko mol nyante yakilo to la bake barola nying alliance mol be animal be kafuta coalition ni akorosi safo 90% be mo wallet mol me ya lonko kunun ko serum ko kata fo sanji jama ko manto iko e be lore Gambele ni mansa kunda mambete baro manke mansa kende dol ba fala ma skulules dol ba fala mansa kunda tamanda man fellonje bi yana yele mako sa ka ko wolle bete so ntebe carte failal ya marka ali mol korosi ali patiol korosi UDP kolea membe intel tamantala birin 96 amam fisalinde amang nakuma kanal falling be no menno ma banko e wolon democracy te e euro e soto banko la musol nim funding kewol be anim banko dingal be jata kenda e soto human rights e soto anin banko e tara fansa wala la aɗum wo kumakang man falin birin 96 fisali mantel ke sorondirma ke ndinga falin kodima ke ndinga falin kuma ke ndinga falin UDP bi Gambia kono atelesi Gambia kanandi no nyen ni masibo men be nyati linkala kato banko ba nyati linka walla kato nin ko bebe koleabe lala kolea kan o manke banko e kairote so UDP alenga kata nga UDP je ko UDP le lota to nyaka an nyin dol mol kana bi naje parti killing be wulla fo parti tan saba democracy men dun ta banko ka nga human rights men dun ni banko ka adu wo keta mol tarol la mol yelol la mol na fulol la jam for diaspora pour que banko yelamande and UDP ni banko korose bu de pele tambe to nyaado so Gambia nol salonko be mento ni election o membina amanke pour UDP tide be banko le kanandi la abe mento taribulu kendo kono amanke ko alajo Hussein election o mo pour alajo Hussein lati ake bayata le fuariyata le do ketatene ba jam fatala sutiyata o mamata lafta banko le bondila en ning mol kafata nyoma be ning condition o banko be bulu jawo men kono corruption o be keri ndula beto tiñarol be keri be o baylale ni ajube fanani selof ya jamela asat nyol mbella moy ka do mandina ka fo nin solbe wafi la wuli fula wuli tak isalon ko wo really o man ful man tanyama so nyanta o reporto bala tabulo kan sai fo fembe bolaje ba fo femte bolaje TRRC fem mamboje me nyanta kala manke hanebi jane commission ko dol nyanta kala ayol be faynar so silan man samem buka lahiro tamandi mo la ko dota yake constitutional reform commission hanebi Gambia man revised constitution also so esalon ko wolte ku dadano la nyim banko wolte ku fontine no la nyim banko bondi no la nyim ko le ko no be menka fo sai nga falenke nga wo fanan jube ni ngala endema UDP man sakunda abe nyim banko nya fitalale en be tarla sila kende la kan nambe banko na fal assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Mr. Sane, Baraka Bake. We content Bake and I'm very honored to have an interview with you here. So, Badin Juberla, coming after Nyamendro, the Honorable Amadou Sane, Gambia, former finance minister, new interview to be Eco TV International, the People's Choice. So, Nakul Kachami Yalonko, Kumata Bakel, bring Ala Jonilan, Ala personal one, and the United Democratic Party, but I'll mean take a Purkaji Kodono, Gambia Ye Fansoto, and in Fanabirata Nathan into office min ketala finance minister Tenure watoti Gambia la finance a improve tanyame ani sententi ngajel ko di contrast mul nyaaje so bari jubet lalo ala barka bake Eco TV International People's Choice wonnata la jam ani rohiyati touré ala barka bake